How to Train Your Dragon 2025 live-action review, a soaring return, or a grounded remake. Oh man, before we dive into this, can we talk about this forehead line real quick? You see that? That's not just any wrinkle. That's a motorcycle helmet line. I wear a cap under my helmet to keep my hair out of my face, and now it's basically branded me for the summer. And that's exactly the version of me you're going to see a lot over the next few months. Me, the open road, the roar of the engine, and a whole lot of movie opinions. So buckle up. Anyway, let's talk about the How to Train Your Dragon live-action remake. Yep, another animated classic adapted into live-action. Those have been going so smoothly lately, right? But here's the silver lining. This one's not owned by Disney. Yet. That's right. DreamWorks still holds the reins, which automatically gives this project a different vibe from, say, The Little Mermaid or Mulan live-action remakes. It's not part of that same formulaic factory. Or at least, that was the hope. Now, if you're trying to do the math, the original How to Train Your Dragon came out in 2010. This 2025 remake means there's 15 years between them. Just to put that in perspective, that's the same gap between the original Dragon and movies like Braveheart, Batman Forever, Waterworld, and Mortal Kombat. Feel old yet? I do. Director returns, but does the magic? Here's what gave me a little hope going in. DeBlois, who directed the original animated trilogy, actually returned to direct the live-action version. That's rare. Usually, these reboots are handed off to someone new. But with DeBlois back, there was potential for this remake to retain the heart and soul of the original story. And, in many ways, it kind of does. This is probably one of the closest one-to-one live-action adaptations we've seen. You've still got Hiccup, awkward, inventive, and misunderstood. He's the son of Stoik the Vast, the Viking chieftain, and completely fails to live up to his father's expectations. Instead of fighting dragons, he befriends one, the legendary and feared Night Fury, Toothless, and everything changes. If you've seen the animated film, you know the beats. The bones of the story are very much intact. But the pace? That's where things start to drag, literally. A slower ride with extra weight. Right out of the gate, one of my biggest issues was how long it took this movie to get going. The animated film wasted no time getting you invested. In contrast, the live-action version feels like it's just meandering its way toward emotional beats that we already know are coming. And yes, the movie is a full 30 minutes longer than the original. Some of that time is used to build out side characters and relationships, like the dynamics between the Viking teens and the social politics of Berk. But a lot of it just feels unnecessary. You know when you watch an extended cut of a movie you love and you're like, yeah, I get why this was cut for pacing? That's exactly what this feels like. The added length doesn't necessarily make the film more immersive. It just makes it slower. Hiccup, then, and now. Let's talk casting. Mason Thames plays Hiccup in this version. You might recognize him from The Black Phone. Honestly, I didn't at first. These kids grow up fast, don't they? Now, he had a huge task in front of him. Jay Baruchel's voice performance in the animated film was iconic, nerdy, awkward, yet completely endearing. Baruchel wasn't your typical Viking voice, and that's what made it perfect for Hiccup. Mason Thames, to his credit, brings a similar energy to the role in live action. The awkwardness? Still awkward. The emotional core? Definitely still there. He does a solid job making you believe in the bond between Hiccup and Toothless, even though the dragon, of course, is entirely CGI. That connection, that friendship, that wordless understanding, that's what made the original film so powerful. And thankfully, that's still present here. Astrid, a missed opportunity. Unfortunately, Astrid didn't fare as well. I've got to be honest, her performance here felt wooden. And yes, I get it, Astrid has always been tough, focused, competitive. But in the animated version, she was still expressive. There was depth. In this one, not so much. The chemistry between her and Hiccup was also a letdown. It just didn't feel earned. The kiss on the cheek moment? It felt like it came out of nowhere, especially after we'd spent so much time watching her ignore or dismiss him. In interviews, the actors actually seemed to have good chemistry in real life, which makes it even more frustrating that the movie didn't tap into that. The filmmakers spent more time widening the rift between Hiccup and Astrid than repairing it, which makes the emotional payoff feel hollow. The cool kids table. Another new aspect in this version is the expanded focus on the Viking teen group. It now feels more like a high school cafeteria setup, the cool kids led by Astrid over here, Hiccup by himself over there. It's clearer than ever that he's an outsider, and the film spends a lot of time reinforcing that dynamic, which would be fine if it also spent time resolving those conflicts. But it doesn't. You get more setup than payoff, and the social tension between the youth of Berk starts to overshadow the core relationship we came here for, Hiccup and Toothless. Gerard Butler returns. Let's talk about one of the biggest returns. Gerard Butler is back as Stoic. In the original, he voiced the character. In this one, he is Stoic, live action, beard, armor, presence, everything. And honestly, he's great. If there was ever a character that felt like it was modeled after a specific actor, it was Stoic and Gerard Butler. It's like the animated version was just a sketch of him waiting to become real. He brings the same gravitas and intimidating presence that the character needs, and the father-son tension between him and Hiccup is still emotionally compelling. Flight scenes and CGI. A mixed bag. Let's talk about the flying scenes, because this is where the movie shines. When Hiccup and Toothless take to the skies, that same sense of wonder from the original is still there. The visuals are sweeping, immersive, and cinematic. It's genuinely exciting to watch. That said, we need to have a quick chat about CGI in 2025. What's going on, Hollywood? We've hit a weird place where some VFX from 20 years ago, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, I'm looking at you, look better than today's big-budget projects. You watch behind-the-scenes clips now, and everything looks like it was filmed in someone's garage. The CGI here isn't bad, it's actually pretty good. But it doesn't feel tactile. The world doesn't feel real. I wish studios would invest a little more in blending practical effects and digital ones, because the hyperdigital look takes away from the live-action experience. When 95% of your movie is green screen, is it really still live-action? The score, A Hero Returns. One area where this remake absolutely nails it is the music. Composer John Powell, who scored the original trilogy, returns to bring his themes back to life. And wow, does it work. Hearing that iconic How to Train Your Dragon score in a live-action theater setting gives you chills. That theme still soars, and Powell's music helps tie this new version emotionally to the original. It's one of the smartest choices the film makes, keeping that musical DNA intact. If they had changed the score, I think the disconnect between this and the animated film would have been too great. So, is it worth watching? At the end of the day, this remake feels like a solid effort that ultimately lacks the spark of its predecessor. It doesn't reinvent the wheel, but unfortunately, the wheel it's replicating is a little less smooth this time around. The story is still touching. The bond between Hiccup and Toothless is still there. But the longer runtime, the slower pacing, the weaker supporting performances, those all chip away at what could have been a stronger remake. It's not bad. It's not unwatchable. It's just a bit unnecessary. You know when you watch the extended cut of a movie you already love, and while the extra scenes are interesting, you ultimately go, yeah, the theatrical version was tighter, better. That's what this feels like. Final thoughts. If you loved the original How to Train Your Dragon, you'll probably find something to enjoy here. But it won't hit you the same way. It's like hearing your favorite song re-recorded by a cover band. It's familiar, it's nostalgic, but it just doesn't hit quite right. So, should you see it in theaters? Honestly, unless you're a hardcore fan, wait for streaming. I give it about a month tops before it's on Peacock or whatever. And that's part of the bigger issue. Why go to theaters when we've been trained to expect a streaming release in just a few weeks? That's a whole other conversation. Now it's your turn. What did you think of the live-action How to Train Your Dragon? Did it capture the magic of the original or fall flat for you? And here's a fun question. What's one animated film that should never be remade? A sacred classic. One they should leave untouched. Let me know in the comments. I read them all. If you like deep dives, honest reviews, and cinematic hot takes, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. Click right here for my latest review, and as always, thanks for watching.